Let's be honest with each other for a second. When you saw Ecuador on Germany's schedule, you probably didn't even blink. Four-time world champions, Leroy Sané, Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz, a team that had already locked up first place in Group E before this match even kicked off. And on the other side, an Ecuador squad that hadn't scored a single goal in this entire tournament coming into this game. 0, not 1, and they still needed a miracle just to stay alive. Nobody gave Ecuador a chance. And that is exactly what made what happened in New Jersey on June 25th one of the most shocking, most emotional, most dramatic results of this entire World Cup. Ecuador came from behind. They beat Germany 2-1, and they punched their ticket to the round of 32. Let that sink in. Right from the opening whistle, Germany made their intentions clear. Nagelsmann's side came out aggressive, high energy, pressing forward immediately. And just 109 seconds into the match, Florian Wirtz slipped a perfect ball through to Leroy Sané, who swept it past goalkeeper Hernan Galindez like it was a training drill. 109 seconds. That's how long it took for Ecuador's nightmare to begin. The MetLife Stadium, packed with 55,000 fans, went into full panic mode. Ecuador, goalless in this tournament, already on the edge of elimination, now trailing to the best team in the group, before the sweat had even dried on their jerseys. But here's where the story gets interesting. Here's where Ecuador showed us who they really are. Because instead of folding, instead of sitting back and accepting the loss, Ecuador pushed forward. And in the 9th minute, Nilson Angulo received the ball on the left side of the box and absolutely bent it past Manuel Neuer with a finish so clean, so precise, it looked like he'd been practicing it his entire life. Neuer, 22 World Cups starts to his name, equaling Lothar Matthäus and Miroslav Klose's. He didn't have a chance. The ball curved into the far corner, and just like that, Ecuador were level. 1-1. 8 minutes gone. Germany stunned. And here's a stat that tells you everything. Ecuador had made 40 attempts on goal throughout this entire tournament without scoring. Their 40th attempt was that Angulo strike. 40 shots to get their first World Cup goal of 2026, and they picked the perfect moment to finally find the net. Now, this is where the tactical chess match really began, and it's where you could already sense that something was different about this Ecuador team. Sebastián Beccacece had set up his side with a purpose, a deep defensive block, compact, disciplined. Every German attack was met with bodies, with intensity, with absolute refusal to give an inch. Pedro Vite alone made 9 tackles in this match, the most ever recorded by an Ecuadorian player at a World Cup. 9 in a single game. Germany had the possession, Germany had the quality, but Ecuador had the hunger, and hunger at a World Cup is its own kind of tactical weapon. Germany were creating chances. Ondav with a left-footed effort that cannoned off the side netting. Gross with an audacious volley. But something felt off. Because the truth is, Germany didn't need to win this game. They were already through, already top of the group. And when players know the result doesn't matter for their own survival, there's a psychological gap that opens up. A looseness, a lack of edge that a desperate opponent can absolutely exploit. Ecuador had something to play for. Germany technically didn't. And on a football pitch, that difference is enormous. The penalty controversy in the second half only added to the drama. Germany were awarded a spot kick, which would have put them back in front. But VAR stepped in and overturned the decision after reviewing a foul in the build-up. The crowd erupted, Nagelsmann shook his head on the touchline, and Ecuador exhaled. Then came the 64th minute and a decision that split opinion across the stadium. Beccacece substituted off Enner Valencia, Ecuador's captain, their talisman. The record holder for most World Cup appearances in Ecuadorian history, taken off with the game level and everything on the line. The fans were not happy. The analysts questioned it. Even the commentators raised their eyebrows. But Beccacece knew something the rest of us didn't. Because 14 minutes later, substitute Kevin Rodríguez, the man who came on to replace Valencia, flicked his head onto a corner kick from Pedro Vite. The ball dropped perfectly into the 6-yard box, and Gonzalo Plata was there, arriving with precision, with instinct, poking the ball past Neuer and into the roof of the net. 77th minute, Ecuador 2, Germany 1. The MetLife Stadium exploded. Plata ran toward the corner, arms wide open, screaming. His teammates piled on top of him. Beccacece on the sidelines, fists clenched, proving every single doubter wrong. And that goal, that corner kick goal, became the 20th set-piece goal of the 2026 World Cup, a tournament already rewriting the history books on the importance of set pieces. Ecuador turned a corner kick into a tournament lifeline. Germany pushed. Undav drove forward. Gross tried his luck. The clock ticked down. 4 minutes of injury time. 6. The Ecuador players threw their bodies in front of every shot, every cross, every German attack. And when the final whistle blew, grown men cried. Beccacece had tears in his eyes. Players who had worked their entire careers for this moment collapsed onto the pitch in pure, unfiltered joy. Ecuador, 4 points, best third-place teams, through to the round of 32. And the numbers tell the full story of just how improbable this was. Germany had an XG of 0.65, meaning statistically they barely created quality chances. Ecuador, 1.51 XG from just 7 shots. They were ruthlessly efficient when they had to be. Germany had failed to keep a World Cup clean sheet since the 2014 final, 9 consecutive games without a shutout, and Ecuador made it 10. For Germany, Nagelsmann will face questions. His team scored first, were in control, and still lost. The critics, who have circled him from the moment he took the job, will now be sharpening their knives heading into the knockout rounds. Because while Germany still finished first in Group E, losing to Ecuador is not the kind of statement you want to make before the pressure really turns up. For Ecuador, this is everything. Coach Beccacece said it best after the match. This is for the people. And he's right. This victory belongs to every Ecuadorian fan who believed when nobody else did, to every player who gave everything in yellow and blue. They came into this game having scored 0 World Cup goals in 2026. They leave it with 2, and with a spot in the last 32 that England might be waiting at the other end of. Germany were the sleeping giants. Ecuador were the starving lions. And on June 25th in New Jersey, the Lions ate.